This is Soph,
This is Rich.
and we are from across
Across
the
the
pond.
pond.
Hi. How was
Hi.
your birthday weekend?
But the weekend was much better than the actual birthday, thank you.
Well, I said birthday weekend because we all know your birthday was on Friday.
I know, but your birthday's for one day, and I just wanted the day to be over. And after it was over, I had an amazing time.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna
But,
take that.
but first of all, I'd like to apologise to everybody that I've come naked today, just because I thought, you know what? It's Sunday. I'm 40 years old and I can't be. Even though my dad says, I can always tell when you're not in the mood because you scrape your hair up. You don't do your hair. Yes, right, Father. I ain't done my hair. I ain't done my hair and I ain't done my face.
Your face looks fine. Your hair is good. Let's go.
I mean, I'll give it to myself. I've got good skin. I've always had good skin. So the weekend, yesterday I went shopping with Uncle Fester's wife, Arena. That was a experience. It was just to the grocery store, as you would call it, the supermarket. We were actually in there for four hours.
It came out with 2 bags.
No, she spent a hell of a lot of money, but she looks at everything in the shop. Like, I thought I was a bad shop. I mean, everything in the shop. And even after we came out, she spent a hell of a lot of money. And then when we got in the car and I was driving home, she said, "Oh, I didn't get any desserts. Oh, I didn't get any dog food either." I thought to myself, what? Like, you spent all that money. We've spent 4 hours trawling around the shop and you didn't even get all you needed. But anyway, it was an experience.
Did she have a list?
No, she's like me. She don't deal in lists. And that's obviously when you swerve to the left. Don't have a list. You just think,
I need a list.
Why?
Because I'll start picking stuff, and then by the time I get home, nothing that I wanted to get is in the bag.
I hear you, but no lists. And then yesterday evening, I went to my friend Olivia's because her birthday was on Monday, so we got birthday in the same week. She's actually got a bar in her living room. Like, I couldn't believe it. There was a disco ball in there. There was a disco ball there. We had a couple of shots, vodka, whiskey, had a couple of Smirnoff Ice, like alcohol things. I mean, I haven't drunk one of them in like 25
I know they still made Smirnoff
Ice. Not only do they still make the small bottles, they also make a big bottle. So she was rocking it, and I was like, do you know what? I ain't had one of them for about 25 years. Why not? Crack the top off that. To be honest, it's just full of sugar, ain't it? But anyway, we had a lovely time. We had a little takeaway. We had a couple of scoops. All was good. And then today I have just sorted out the house. Phones away, please, during recording sessions. Thank you. I just tidied the house before Alfie come home, sorted out some Christmas presents, and sorted out all my birthday gifts and deliveries that I had.
You had some beautiful gifts.
Right? I know, I've had so many flowers. Like, it's unbelievable. I love flowers.
Well, see, birthday turned out all right.
What have you done this weekend?
Oh, I tied one on this weekend. I helped a good friend of mine move.
Hold on.
Got
you
out
tied
their house.
One on?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
I had a couple drinks on Friday.
Mm-hmm. What did you have?
And some wings. I went to a place I haven't been to in a while.
Oh,
it was a good time.
Your beer pictures. I'm with you.
And then yesterday I helped a good friend gut out their house. They're trying to sell, so they had to get rid of everything. So that turned out all right as well.
Oh, good.
And then I watched the whole season of Witcher.
Oh,
I know you're not into that type of stuff.
No, Not for me. I watched today. I'm not even going to tell you what I watched because we're going to just talk about it maybe next week or the week after in one of our reviews.
Oh yeah, I've watched all of that too.
And I loved it. I've binged today. After I did a morning of tidying and cleaning and sorting, I would have an afternoon of binging. And I'm telling you, what I made myself was a red onion and chive bagel. Cut it in half, and I grilled it with brie and salami on. Oh,
Red onion.
amaze balls. Come on now, let's pull it together. This is Serious Sunday.
Right.
And we are talking about
Man versus woman.
not really. We're talking about parents. Do you think dads get treated differently to mums? And the reason that came up is because when we was having our meeting trying to discuss what our topic's going to be about, I saw something. Let me try and see exactly what it says. I saw something that said, is it okay for dads to take their daughters into a ladies' changing room instead of a man's? I mean, which is a good question. If you're a man, whether you're single or you're in a couple, if you're a man out shopping or out with your daughter, what do you do with her? Do you take her in the men's changing room, or do you take toilets, or do you take her into the ladies?
Well, to be honest with you, it's if it was my daughter,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take her where I would go and feel comfortable, and that would be in the ladies room. I mean the men's room, because here in the States, I don't know if they have them there, but here in the States, they have changing rooms in the men's rooms now.
Changing room? What, you mean baby changing stations?
Yeah.
No, they don't
And
have
if
them.
and if she's old enough to use the toilet,
Mm-hmm.
then you take her in there with you, and you take her into a private stall.
Yeah, they don't have them in the men's here. They normally have them in the disabled. So I suppose that's unisex, right?
Right.
Um. Okay, so at what point then do you let her go into the ladies by herself?
When she's old enough to go in there by herself.
What age is that? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I don't know. I don't have a daughter, so I don't know.
Okay,
What do
so
you
let's
think would
say
be a
you
proper age?
let's
I
say
don't know
you
what a proper age is.
I don't know. Let's just stick a needle in it and say 10, right? Let's just say you went out shopping with your daughter and you sent her into the ladies by herself to go to the toilet and you waited outside.
Right.
How long would you leave it if she didn't come out before you went in there?
I say about 5 minutes.
And would you ask somebody or would you just go in?
I would ask first. If there was someone going in there, I would ask first.
Mm-hmm.
But then I would actually go in and let them know that there's a man present, and I'd be going there to check on my daughter.
Okay. Because you were a single dad and I'm a single mum. So do you think that single dads or dads get treated differently to mums?
Oh, we get a bad rap the whole way around.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I want to ask, why do you say that?
I just think it's a double standard. I think there is a double standard when it comes to uh dad's rights and mom rights, because they automatically assume that the mom is in the right all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and that the child should be with the mom. And that's not always the case.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying? So I just watched a TikTok where a gentleman's a gentleman's niece, you know what I mean, had to jump through hoops. They had to jump through hoops just to get her. You know what I mean? His niece.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the only living relative. So he's a man. And he's got to jump through hoops just to get his niece. So it's a double standard when it comes to men versus women when it comes to parenting. They just automatically assume, society automatically assumes that the moms are the better parents.
I hear you. Do you think that the justice system, the law, or whatever you want to call it, is stuck in the dark ages as far as that's concerned?
Well, I mean, they're starting to get a little better, but there's still that stigma where women are considered, because you gave birth to that child. I think they feel as though the mom is the better parent.
So
That's not always the case.
so like if parents part ways, the dad and the mom has the children, the dad normally pays maintenance, right?
Right, child support, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think the mum should have to pay child support if the shoe's on the other foot?
Yes, I do believe so. I agree.
I totally agree. I'm only saying that because Alfie's dad had a child previously with somebody else, obviously, and he lived with him, then stroke us, and the mum never paid child maintenance, and I didn't understand it because when the shoe's on the other foot, the man's got to pay maintenance for the child. So why shouldn't it be the case? If the dad gets custody or the dad has the child, why shouldn't the mum pay? I don't understand that.
Yeah. Well, I had a similar situation, and she paid child support, you know what I mean? But like I said, it's a double standard, because when she stopped paying child support and they just didn't do anything to her.
And you think
When
that's because she's a woman, not because she's a man? I
I
mean,
do
because
believe
she's not a
so.
man.
I do believe so, because when the shoe was on the other foot and I ran into some financial difficulties and I couldn't pay child support, they froze my account. They threatened to take my driver's license. They threatened to put me in jail. All kinds of, I've got all
It's
kinds of
it,
threats.
it's serious business over there then, because I'm telling you, men can avoid the system like nobody's business over here. If you
Yeah.
say
I mean,
like someone could say you could have a child with someone and they could say you could say, right, I'm taking you to CSA child support to get the maintenance money, and they could say, sorry, your honor, I don't have a job, I don't have any money, and the court can say, no worries, sorry love, he hasn't got a job, he can't pay you, but as soon as he gets the job, we'll get him to pay you like £5 a week. Is that okay? And they can
well, see,
they can manipulate the system so that they don't pay.
that goes both ways though. Like you can do that here too. There's a lot of people that I know that um will say, but see here it's a little stricter. Like you got to come with pay stubs. You got to actually say you don't have a job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you got to physically be like, I am out of work, yada yada. But then, how are you living then?
Exactly.
See, they'll start digging even deeper. Well, how are you living? Where do you live? Yada yada. How are you paying for this? How are you paying for that? Like, it's not a walk in the park by no stretch.
Well, I think
And then
maybe
I've had friends,
they need to
huh?
get in contact with the UK CSA and give them some pointers.
Yeah, because I've had friends who had got put on work release.
What's that?
Work release is like, instead of going to jail, you go to work. They find
Oh,
you a job and you work, and then once you pay off a certain amount, then they let you go,
oh, they
which
need to
is
have that
crazy.
over here. Jeepers creepers. Well, what was the other thing I was going to say? Okay, so this is how as well people get treated differently. When Alfie was a baby, he went to he had to go and have his jabs. Babies have injections, and it was the first set of injections. I had to work, so his dad took him. I got a telephone call, right? And I answered from his dad, and I was like, everything okay? He said, you need to speak to the nurse. And I said, why? He said, because they won't give him the jabs without your permission. So she gave her the phone and she said, hi, we just need your permission that Alfie can have these jabs. I said, what are you on about? His dad has bought him there. And she was like, I know, but you're not married and it's your parental responsibility. So we can't administer any jabs without your permission. And if you're going to get his dad to bring him in the future, you'll have to write written consent and sign it.
Crazy, right? Crazy.
Like I'm going to send my child to the doctor with some random, you know, it's weird, really weird.
Well, here when my kids were in school, now this is crazy. When my kids were in school, you have to put down like people you want to pick up your
Oh, yeah.
child or visit or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I did that for my kids' mother. And she could come up here any day she wanted and visit the school, visit the teachers, yada, yada, yada. When my kids went back down there, I had to provide birth certificates, I had to provide a driver's license with my picture on it just to prove that I was their father and that I wanted to see them and how they were doing in school. Tell me if that ain't a double standard. We got to jump through hoops.
But the thing is, though, I get that there's bad dads, but there's also bad mums, you know, and they say, I'm probably going to get strung up for saying this, but women say all the time, women's equal rights, we want to be equal, da 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 da. But surely that should be across the playing field then, right?
Right.
You can't pick and choose. Oh, shiz, I've dropped my pen.
And let me clear this up. My kids' mom is not a bad mom, because I don't want to hear people like, oh, well, you're throwing their mom under the bus. No, I'm not. It's just choices.
Nobody's throwing
choices were made.
No one's throwing anybody under the bus. We're just dealing in facts, you know, like I'm not gonna lie, Alfie's dad is not the best. Yes, he has his son every other weekend most of the time. Does he contribute as he should financially? No. Does he do anything else other than hold his son every other weekend when he can't? No. And I saw this TikTok, right? I mean, we love TikTok, but I saw this video. This woman is clearly going through it with her baby's father, right? With her baby daddy, whatever you want to say, her ex, whatever. And she basically said that if you're not together anymore, doesn't necessarily make you a co-parent. Co-parenting means both of you do 50% of the work. If you're the dad and you just contribute financially, but you don't see the child, you're classed as an absent parent. If you don't contribute financially, but just see the child, you're just an absent parent. You're not a co-parent. A co-parent is 50%. You pick the child up from school 50% of the time, you pay for 50%, you go to 50% of the doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, school plays, whatever. A co-parent does 50% of the responsibility. And I was like, do you know what? Where's that forward button? Forward, send, mic drop, you know. I'm not saying Alfie's dad, like you, is a bad dad, because he spends time with his son, which people keep telling me is more than most do. I get that. He is a good father. Is he a great father? No. And I'm not being disrespectful, like you said, or chucking him under the bus. I'm just being honest. If he watches this, good, maybe he might learn something. But that's just how it is. If you don't like what you're hearing or what I'm going to tell you, do something about it. Do something about it. That's all I'm going to say. All I know is I have been there for my son every single day of his life. I have gone without so that he can have stuff, because that's how it should be. From the 28th of January 2012, somebody else has come before me. Why? Because he's my child. He's my responsibility. He is here because I made him, so therefore I have to look after him. That's how I see it.
I ain't mad at you. On the other hand, from a man's standpoint, like you said, not all of us are perfect. You know what I mean? And not all women are perfect. Not all people are meant to be parents either. No, we said this before. And with my situation it was just choices being made. We made some choices. Some of them were smart, some of them weren't. It got ugly. You know what I mean? Things were expressed and should have been expressed a little more maturely. But then on the other end, my thing with being a parent and being a father is I just wanted to make sure that my kids are older now, but I wanted them to make sure, them to know that their dad will fight for them till the end of time.
And you know what? That is really important thing that your children know. Like, obviously there's different issues or different things going on with Alfie's dad. Will I ever badmouth Alfie's dad or talk down about him in front of Alfie? No way, no how. Regardless of how I feel personally about his dad, whether I feel let down, whether I feel like he's a loser, whether I feel like he doesn't do his best, That's my opinion. I will never stop Alfie from seeing his father, and I will never badmouth him in front of him, because at the end of the day, Alfie's going to grow up. And when he grows up, if he asks questions, I will tell him the truth. And it's his decision. Whatever he decides, whatever he thinks, whatever opinion he forms of his father is his own. And he will do that by himself. He doesn't need any influence from me.
Right. And I feel the same way. You know, is their mom and myself, are we perfect parents? By far, no. We were young, we were married, we were young, we had children young. Not to make the excuse, but you learn along the way. There's no rule books on parenting. But my theory as the man of the relationship is that make sure that your kids know that you would fight for them. And that's my job. So then when they get older and they have children, they understand that, guess what? Sometimes you have to fight for what you believe in. And I believe in, I was their dad, I was their father, and they need to know who I am at all costs. And that's how I looked at it. So that now that they're young men and they're on their own paths now, they know, I just want them to know that Daddy was there for us. He fought for us. He did this for us. He did that for us. Along the way, was I perfect? No. Was her mom perfect? No. You know what I mean? Their mom could say the same exact thing that I'm saying, but her views and my views will always be different.
Of course they will. And regardless of who's at fault or not at fault, you will always be the bad person, or somebody will always make themselves look like the better person in their version of the story. You know, that's just human nature. But you know, the other thing, like dads versus mums or whatever, I find if you get a dad that goes out on his own with a baby, all the women are like swooning around him like, oh my God, baby. If a woman goes out on her own, a man generally thinks, oh God, steer clear, she's got kids, you know, baggage. You know, how is it a man can be like a chick magnet with a baby, but a woman that's got a baby is classed as baggage? How is that fair?
I'm gonna tell you, because they don't see it often. That's why. You don't see a father being a nurturer as often as you see a mother.
So you're saying that it's attractive to women because they don't see it very often?
Yeah, that's my opinion. Yeah. Because I remember when Richard was small. I mean, he was adorable, and women be like, "Oh, he is so cute. Can I hold him?" Yada yada yada. Be like, "No," because her mom is in the car. I used to just say that all the time. Mom's in the car. Or mom's on the other side of the store. I used to say that a lot. Be like, their mom is on the other. I don't think she would appreciate that.
Maybe what would they say when you said that?
Oh, that's so sweet, yada yada yada. Or they'll keep moving, like, oh, okay, no disrespect, yada yada yada. You know what I mean? But I used to do that a lot. Ooh, no, she's right behind me. I don't think she would appreciate that. Because Richard was adorable, and so was Ryan. Ryan was adorable too.
I mean, it's not like you say when you say it's rare. Maybe a bit more now, but you rarely hear of single fathers. It's like I said, it's a bit more known now, but like when we was younger, there was never really any single mums, to be fair. When I went to middle school, so we're talking like when I was about 10, you'd have like 28 pupils per class. In my class, there was me and one other girl that were from single parent families. Everyone else's mum and dads were still married and together.
See, I come from a single parent home. I grew up a single parent, you know, with my father at that. Like did my dad have a girlfriend from time to time? Yeah. Did he have a living girlfriend? Yeah. But at the end of the day, I live with my dad. That's how I tell everybody. I live with my dad. I grew up with my father. Now my mother, on the other hand, she was elsewhere to prevent her from living with us and raising us. But nevertheless, I still knew who my mother was. It's just I live with my dad.
And did you ever find that strange? Like, because I'm sure at school there was either parents that were together or single mums. There wasn't many single dads, right?
There weren't many single dads, but I tell you, my dad has really, really pretty handwriting. And people would think when my dad would write my excuses, they would think it was my mom. And I'd be
Okay.
like, that's my dad's handwriting. That's my dad's handwriting.
But I mean, nothing was ever said like among friends or peers or anything about, oh, you've just got a dad.
No, everybody loves my dad. I don't know why, but he's
He's a
just
very
very
lovable
charismatic.
man.
He's very charismatic.
Mm.
So when we were coming up, it wasn't nothing. It wasn't really talked about or discussed, or like when you went to school. I mean, to have your dad around in my the way I grew up, to have my dad around was important, was like awesome, was like
I get that, but
was different.
it must have been like not the norm to not have a mum around, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't the normal, but no one really looked bad at it or never really paid it any mind because I was always around my dad. So it was kind of like, when your parent came to school, they'd be like, "Who's that?" And I'd be like, "That's my dad." They'd just be like, "Oh, snap, Mr. Payne's coming. That you in trouble." You know what I mean? So that's how it was when I was coming up. There was never really a look of you live with your dad. It
Mm.
wasn't nothing like that. Mm-mm.
Well,
Was it
obviously,
like that for you when you were growing up?
well, it was different because obviously my mum's gay, so it not only was it
No one knew that though when you're in
not
school or
well,
unless
this
you
is the
told
thing,
them.
this is back in the 80s. So whereas now, not being disrespectful, it almost seems fashionable to be gay or to be non-binary or to be transgender or to be, do you know what I mean? It's a
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
well-known thing everywhere. Whereas back in the day, it was frowned upon. You couldn't be gay because that's not the norm. um but people, if I talk about my mum, they would say, well, didn't you know? I mean, I didn't even know what a lesbian or a gay person was.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when they say, oh, didn't you know, I'm like, well, no, I just thought she was like me. She have her friend over for a sleepover. I had my friend over for a sleepover. We sleep top and tail. Okay, my mum's got her friend over for a sleepover. Why would I think any different? I was a child.
yeah,
um it wasn't until secondary school, when, okay, so now what a gay or a lesbian person is, and I'm like, there is no other gay or lesbian person that anybody seems to know in the whole school apart from my mum. So
mhm,
I'm now not the norm. I'm abnormal. It's not the normal done thing. So yeah.
yeah. So was that rough growing up?
Totally. Totally. I hated school. I really hated it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Were
that's
you
another
bullied?
show.
That's true.
Have we
That
done a
is
show
so
about
true.
schools yet? Apart from the differences in schools, like what you
Mm-mm,
call it
we
and what we
haven't.
call it. We haven't talked about
Yeah.
our own personal experiences really. Apart from you asked me on Friday what was my favorite lesson, I said art.
Art, not social studies, not math,
Okay, but
not
when you was at
English.
school, did anyone have gay or lesbian parents?
No,
No,
no
see?
one really paid attention to parents. That's the thing. When we were in school, no one really paid attention to parents. It was more or less you paid attention to your age group. That was it. We never really paid attention to parents. I had a best friend who he lived with it. She lived with his mom. He lived with his mom. He stayed with his dad. You know what I mean? And then one of my closest friends, his parents were divorced. That was the first time I've ever heard the word divorce from. And he lived with his dad, but on the weekends he stayed with his mom. So it was kind of like, he had the best of both worlds, kind of, because
Hmm.
he had two different area codes. He lived and
How do you
they
think
lived close.
things could, or what needs to happen for things to be better for single dads compared to single mums?
I just think the system itself should should really pay close attention to fathers, period.
Mm.
Whether they're good or bad, but we have more bad stereotypes than we have more good stereotypes. So I think they should pay attention more to, you know, both sides. I should say both sides. I shouldn't just say just fathers, but they should pay attention to both sides and make a conscious decision on what's right and what's right. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because we get overlooked just because of you have maybe 5% of dads who they call deadbeat,
Mm-hmm.
which a definition of a deadbeat dad, someone give me a clarification of that.
What's your definition of a deadbeat dad?
My definition of a deadbeat dad is a person who's not involved at all.
Okay.
If
So
he's involved in some way, shape, or form, he's not a deadbeat dad.
Okay, so a deadbeat dad, I'm not saying you're right or you're wrong. If you're saying a deadbeat dad is somebody that's basically defined as a sperm donor, right? So they don't have anything to do with it whatsoever. What would you class one of those dads that come in and out, like, I'm going to be there, but oh no, I didn't show up. I've let you down. Oh no, I couldn't do, like, excuse maker. What would you call that then?
Well, I don't really consider that a deadbeat dad because things happen. I remember there was times where I was supposed to pick my boys up and things happen.
Okay, but what about
But
those ones that don't turn up
does,
because they're high as a kite, or they'd rather go and get
yeah,
their next fix or their next chick rather than go
yeah,
and see their
then
kids?
he's not involved. He's not
Okay.
involved at all. Then he's considered a deadbeat dad. I'm talking about calling someone a deadbeat dad because financially they can't support, but they're there to take him in or to watch him or
All
buy
right, that's
clothes.
where
Or,
that woman nailed it
you
on
know
the
what I mean?
head. They're an absent parent. They're not a co-parent because you're
Right.
absent from parts of the child's
But
life.
they're not considered deadbeat though. I
Okay.
don't consider that a deadbeat dad because he can't financially, support you, but he is there. Like if you call him and he goes, "Hey, look, I ain't got the money, but look, I got a pair of sneakers here for him. I got him outfits here for him. Matter of fact, I'll come get him if you need, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, that's still his child. So to me, I don't consider that a deadbeat dad.
I don't understand
Or
deadbeat.
if he can't see the child and he's financially taking care of him, and maybe he might talk to him on the phone or whatnot, he's still considered there to me. If the child knows who his father is, he can't be a deadbeat dad, period. If he doesn't know who his daddy is and the daddy's playing games, then by all means, he's a deadbeat dad.
I just don't understand how.
My opinion.
I just don't understand how father or mother, when you lay down in the sheets and you conceive a child, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to A, be in their life, and B, contribute to their upbringing, well-being, and all of the rest of it. I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, see, that's one of the life's mysteries right there, because I used to struggle with that because I got a lot of friends who got kids they didn't want to have anything to do with. And here I am, got both my kids. I'm fighting tooth and nail for them to understand who I am and, want to be a part of their life. And then you got people on the other side of the fence that could care less what their child is doing until their child becomes successful. Then they want to be on the heels of their child. So I don't know. I think that's one of life's mysteries right there. Not,
Yeah.
like I said before, not everybody is meant to be a parent, but if you lay down and you have a child, you're responsible. That's how I look at it. You're responsible. Whether you like it or not, you are responsible. So you got to figure it out. Most of us don't figure it out until we like well into our 40s. But you will figure it out. I like to give men a benefit of the doubt, men and women. Sometimes it takes a little bit for them to get it.
Like,
You know what I
I'm
mean?
not gonna lie, people, my friends, family, do say to me sometimes, why are you being so reasonable or being so nice to Alfie's dad? why don't you do X, Y, and Z? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Why are you being so nice to him? And I'm just like, at the end of the day, when Alfie gets older, I'll be able to categorically say I did nothing to stop him from seeing his dad, and I was always there or provided from day dot. If his dad doesn't step up or do what he's meant to, that's on him. That's not on me, And like I said, I will allow Alfie to make his own mind up or his own judgment. If he asks any questions when he's older, I would 10,000% tell him the truth about everything, not to be a bitch, because you should always be honest. I'll just tell him the truth, and then he can deal what he wants to do with the facts.
Yeah, and that's how you should look at it. Like with my sons, they're in their 20s now. My youngest will be 20 in February, but they're young men now, and when they're old enough to want to sit down with me and ask 1,001 questions, by all means, I'll be here to give it to them straight with no chaser. You know what I mean? My side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Now they can either take it or leave it, but I'm gonna give them the honest truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's all you can do. Like I'm gonna give you an example. My father was a single parent. I asked him a boatload of questions about him and my mom. He gave it to me straight with no chaser. And to be honest, I respect him more now than I ever have, just due to the simple fact that he gave it to me straight, whether I liked it or not, whether it made me feel good or not, whether it hurt my feelings. He gave it to me straight, and I can respect that as a man-to-man type thing, that I can respect.
But that's
him,
how it should be, because if you tell the truth and the child or your child doesn't like it, you have to take that responsibility and own up for your actions, why you did or said, or why these things happened at the time. You just got to be accountable for whatever the reason, excuse, whatever it is that happened. Like, I hope one day, if Alfie doesn't ask any questions, I hope that his dad will be honest, with him. But who knows? Yeah. Who knows?
That's one of life's mysteries. I'm telling you, it's one of those things.
And let's not get it twisted. I grew up in a single parent household, and did I plan that in my life? No. I wanted the dream, the husband, 2.4 kids and a dog, house in the country, the lot. I wanted a family, a family unit.
I think we all want that. I think we all grow up with that vision of what they want. And I think, the way society is, it's not always guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. It's what you want. So it's just what life brings you, and you got to do what you can while you got it. You know what I mean? You got to make do with what you got.
And I do think also, I know it's a little bit off topic, but those people that say, oh, we're staying together for the kids, I think that does more harm than good, because literally all you're doing is teaching your children how not to have a good relationship and how a relationship shouldn't be. Which, if it doesn't work out between the mother and the father, there is never a right time, so to say, oh, I'm hanging on for this, or I'm hanging on for that, I'm waiting for this, or I'm waiting for that, there is never a right time. If it's not going to work, it's not going to work. You just have to rip it off like a band-aid and then deal with the consequences.
Agreed. Very well put.
Thank you.
Very, very well put.
I do have my uses, sometimes. But no, come on, government. Single dads need to equal opportunity just as much as
us. We need to be heard. We need to be heard.
Just as much as we. I mean, I've been out before and seen big, massive, like someone's got a bed sheet and written on it, dads have got a voice, or dads need to be treated, and they just leave it pinned up everywhere. Like, we've had people dressed up as Spider-Man or Superman hanging off of a bridge when they stop all the traffic. The police are called, because they're trying to prove a point, which I totally understand the reason. I just don't understand the way they're trying to get the message across. You know, there's a ways and means of doing things, and hanging off of a bridge dressed as Spider-Man is not the
It's
one.
not going to get it. It's going to get you more harm than good. Just be smart about it, people. Just be smart about it.
Smart about it.
Mhm. Well, that being said, this is Soph.
This is Rich.
And we are from across the pond.
Halfway through that show, I dropped my pen on the floor, but my arms are so short I can't even reach it while I'm sat on the chair. Loser. All right, Richalicious. I'm going to see you Wednesday for our meeting. Going to see these guys on Friday. Oh my God, Friday is Christmas Eve.
So we're doing it Thursday. We said Thursday.
I know, but I thought that was an in-house. I thought that would be an in-house.
Christmas Eve. Yes, we can do that.
Too late. You've given the game away now. Thursday, people. Thursday, we're doing a Christmas show because it is Christmas Eve on Friday.
It sure is.
Sure is.
Well, I will see you Wednesday.
Wednesday, business as usual. Yepper.
Yepper.